What are you guys' thoughts on the AI agent space?
We have a running POC of Make Agent live.
We are working with a lot of like the top companies.
What is the future of AI no code looking like?
It's a must-have. You need to have human looping capabilities even in every plan.
That would be game changer. Sebastian, Boris, a huge welcome. It's amazing to have you both here. Today we're going to cover a lot of really cool stuff, right? We're going to talk about AI agents. We've got things about human in the loop, the grid, how you will like change in no code and automation game. But before we get started, do you want to do a little quick intro, your background, what you do at Make?
You want to go first?
Go ahead.
Oh, me? I'll take the privilege. Yeah, so my name is Boris Sergienko. I'm a BDR here at Make. I'm a business development representative here in the U.S. I'm based in Raleigh, North Carolina. We have most of our U.S. sales team here in the U.S. So pretty much background on me. I started with Make back in May, and it's been going amazing so far. I think Make's a great company. We're really driving the automation. We're really changing the automation game, especially with AI coming out, and we're really focused on that at the moment. So that's kind of the background on me. And recently, I've been starting to post more content on AI and automation. So reached out to Jack, thought that he would have some ideas, and he invited me to the podcast. So it's super great to be here, man.
Dude, we're going to have a great conversation. It's cool that Meg's got presence in North America. I didn't know that. I thought it was mainly like Europe, but it's so sick to hear you guys in America. That's amazing.
We are growing, and I'm trying to get more investment here, but it's we're taking one step at a time.
International, I love it. How about you, Sebastian?
Yeah. I try keeping it short because I'm in the industry for like nearly 10 years now. I started with Zapier, did a lot of Airtable stuff, did a lot of also classical development topics. That's how I actually got to know Loco because it made my coding experience way easier. Did a lot of like NLP picture recognition stuff when I had my old company. And basically now in my role, I merge my experience around building applications around AI and bring it to low and no code. And it's amazing to see what's going on in America. I think you guys are really like spearheading right now AI transformation overall, like compared to like Europe or even Asia, where we're not having like that strong market entry. So I think like really America is inspiring us. So like keep pushing towards us what your customers and what the user base, the community needs, what they anticipate Make should do, and how it helps to drive them agentic behavior in AI and automation in the future. And yeah, that's what I'm trying to do every day, bringing that to the customers. Of course, with like Make is over 8 years old, so having an old technology stack and a lot of customer operations running on, it's a tremendous achievement what we did, but it's also, of course, a challenge in terms of like, okay, we now need to get the time to market things done there. So yeah, I'm also happy to sneak preview a bit behind the scenes there from like product and engineering perspective, and getting you guys a really nice sneak preview into AI.
Well, we would absolutely love that. It's funny, especially I think you've got a tough job because the AI is changing so frequently, almost every day. It's like your roadmap and what's happening. It's like, oh my gosh, guys, our 3-month plan, it's out the window. Now we're doing something completely different. How do you find it? Do you find it tough to keep up with the AI side because it's changing so much? Does your roadmap change like 24/7 with that stuff?
Well, people are still like, yeah, like, can we do 3 years planning, or like, what's the vision for 3 years? Last year I said, okay, well, I'm happy if I can forecast 9 months. It actually changed to now I'm happy if I can forecast 4 months. And after was what I read yesterday with like Sam Altman saying like, hey, AIG could be around the corner. There's a meeting on 31 of January. It's like in some 8 days or so from now. And I'm like, well, maybe I can't even forecast a week anymore. It's crazy. I mean, you can see and detect some patterns, and sometimes it's even better to wait in that fast-moving industry because every move you can make, you either do too slow or too fast and do the right thing. There's something, so it's really hard to anticipate. The only thing where you can like really de-risk your product decisions is by basically developing features customers anyway want, which have a lot of win-win or paid towards agentic behavior or AI anyhow. So this is what we are shifting towards, and I think we've seen that at a lot of other companies, that they are focusing around capabilities which you can sell with a return on investment anyhow right now, because they are features demanding by customers. It might not be like the top most demanded ones, but they have a solid use case also in a world when AI models will basically run operations.
Do you know,
So just
that's,
like,
yeah. That's interesting because my observation in the AI space and like all the community is that like there is sometimes shiny objects in AI, like, oh my gosh, it's a brand new thing, and everyone rushes to it. One of the things I always try to think about is like, how do we disseminate between the kind of the froth at the top and the stuff that's really here to stay? The 2025's been described by many people as the year of the AI agent. That technology in particular is something many people, myself included, strongly believe is like here to stay and be here long term. So, what are you guys' thoughts on the AI agent space? How do you see that in Make today? What's your kind of like roadmap and thoughts about how we can bring that? Because that's probably the most requested, like, I guess, agenda item I get when I talk to the community and YouTube about like AI and Make, like, is AI agents. Where's your head at with that, Sebastian? What do you think?
yeah. So super happy to teaser that we have a running POC of Make Agent live. I've been demoing it yesterday to also some first users, and I'm right now in the last miles there, finishing the POC. We anticipate an early beta access soon. Soon as in product terms, like can be 2 weeks, can be 2 months. And yeah, then we're gonna release it to the public and people can test it. It's going to be a bit different because we break things down. We want to make it known low code, of course, so it's less complex. And we believe that you should not have like coding experience, or you need to come along with like coding words and terms. No, you should be just able to use it, plug and play it. We are also, we can make a difference in terms of agent when it comes to tool access. This is our core USP. We have over 2,400 apps for a super versatile platform. So tool access is the thing that can set us apart from other competitors, and also access to systems. This is like one of the core strengths there, and this is how we are thinking of it and entering the market. And also when we're talking about like, okay, where to put your X into which bag, I think it's important to really check out, okay, what are like the synergies in your product, what are things you can do, what are things which you cannot do, observe the market, and then like really like go nail these things, and then you're going to figure out by usage where it's going to lead us with a product feedback.
That's incredible. I think like most people are very excited to hear the prospect of a Make AI agent would be incredible. Do you when you think about the agent, how are you sort of like configuring that? Are you seeing it kind of like a non-linear function where you have it kind of in the scenario, and then you kind of like, I guess similar to some other no-code platforms, maybe like an N8N or some other AI agentic platforms where it kind of draws things? How are you thinking about accessing things like memory? Where's your head at with that sort of stuff?
We're going to make it so much easier.
Wow. Okay.
Period. Okay, so like this, like, I mean, we see what the competition does, and we just going to make it way easier.
Yeah. Because, do you know, it's interesting. Like, when I think of, I think one of the huge appeals about your platform is how intuitive it is. And
Exactly.
I think one of the biggest hacks is like design matters, like how it physically looks,
piece
colors,
matters.
like the small details. Yeah.
Yeah, every detail matters. I just talked with our CDO this morning, and yes, to be faster time to market, we have to do some trade-offs. One of the core pillars is kind of like shifting with AI. You should never trade off quality for like your product, and you always need to start. And I think Steve Jobs said there an industry standard like years ago. You should always work yourself back from the user experience to the product capabilities. I think this holds true till today. Nevertheless, to hit in an older software stack time to market, it's important to also test features earlier and then figure out if this is even needed to have a great customer experience. And if so, then you got to nail the customer experience with the highest priority. But you got to figure out before you build something, because you can only develop it once with your capacity you're having, that this is the really right thing. So really trying to enter some more fast-paced motion there.
And how do you see this agent work? And can you share what you see it looking like? And then Boris, maybe you could share how you see like the clients that you work with, the big clients, the small guys, independent like agencies, or just interesting users, how you see them using that in like Make.
So Both also please feel free to add some things you see directly from the market side. I can just go from like more higher level product perspective where we try to aggregate all of these insights. We see that of course there's a use for RAG, there is a use for like tool usage, there is a need for memory, things like that. But ultimately, RAG memory is just a tool for an agent. It doesn't matter for an agent. If you think about like Llama Index or Llama or LangChain, ultimately these are just tools, and what you need to do is you need to make agents aware of tools, and it's like the core challenge, and then making the tool building experience nice. We have a great product building experience, so we quite confident that we can make the tool building experience a really blast in there. And so when it comes like to how to build these agents or what's the market anticipating, I think it's a lot about how you make it consumer friendly. Because if you check out the platforms right now, there are some AI agent builders that do a really good job at making the user experience easier. There are others that make it actually for simple users or non-developer users really hard. And I think mapping JSON isn't the future.
Yeah.
I really don't think so. I think I love JSON. It's amazing. It's amazing framework that helps you sending along structured information from A to B. But I think AI is here to help you with that.
Yeah, one thing that I'll add, based on what Sebastian was saying before with the customer experience, like our leadership has been very obsessed with customer experience. We want to make sure that, the customer's having the best experience, that we're actually providing a product that people want and need. And I guess going into a bit more of some of these use cases with AI, I think it's best to always start off with something simple, like just get started, get your, we have people that get an email and then they want to get like the most important parts from it and then just put it into like a daily planner. Or we have people that they'll take something from a Google spreadsheet, they'll pass it into OpenAI, they'll ask it to do something, and it's just going to cut down on those like manual tasks that people are doing. Like if you just analyze your day and think about how many times you're opening like 100 emails, you're replying to these messages, you're replying to like the same messages over and over again. Like these are all things that, they might be small, but once you really add them up, they can add up to a lot of your time that can be spent on better things, growing your business or doing the core responsibilities of your job. And these are all things that we're hoping at, and that we're seeing already in the market that people are cutting down with AI and with Make. So
That's true, because I think when you speak to people, like you don't want a corporate client knowing what RAG is. It's just memory. It's memory, right? They're not going to use this kind of like dense terminology. So your building philosophy, mate. I think it's impossible. It's impossible for it to be as intuitive as unless it's like really ingrained in how you think. So how do you actually keep it so simple as you develop out these technologies? Like what your guys' philosophy? Because I guess Boris, that helps you when you're talking to clients, you're thinking about your users of all levels. How do you make it so simple they just plug and play and go?
It's so hard to answer because there's like so many things to this. There's like so many things. One of the most important pieces there is think it through. Yeah. Like if you see LangChain, and if you would just do what many other platforms out there do, is they just wrap LangChain. Ultimately, that's everybody talking about AI agents. Ultimately, what they're doing is they're either wrapping one of these agent frameworks from a technical point of view. Does it make it easier? No, because ultimately, like, what's an output parser? What's the value of an output parser? Why do I need to use an output parser? Me as a dumb user, I have no clue why you should use an output parser. If I tell Boris, hey Boris, can you sell output parsers? He's gonna be like, sure.
Yeah, I got you.
There's no value proposition. Or if you think about like, okay, what is memory, or what is like RAG? So ultimately, it's like my storage, right? It's my data store. It's my context, like words people understand. That makes, of course, you can link these words in an toggle window where you explain, okay, hey, you can use this word's RAG. You have advanced options. So it's a lot of times like when you see your like iPhone or so, everybody can use it, you have advanced settings, you can customize it, you can go really crazy on it. Sure. But for the mass majority of the market, 80%, 90% simplicity is good enough. So you need to kind of like, okay, you have this complex technical framework. How do you break it down to make it actually appealing?
One thing I would say from my side is I think I've been starting to use a lot of just like simple words, simple language that people can understand. And sometimes when you get into more of these technical terms, people that are super technical, they love talking about it. They love talking about parsers and things like that, routers, error handling, that sort of stuff. But for most people, like you just want to say automation, AI. You want to say you're going to be doing less manual tasks. You're going to this AI is going to save you so much time. This AI is going to be doing this. It's going to be doing that. Like you want to be talking about more of the benefits versus just the technical features, because most people they'll come to Make and maybe they see something like, even with Make, we've all built a Make, we've all seen how simple it can be, but even you have people that will go into Make, they'll try to build like one scenario, it doesn't work, and then they give up because they think it's too hard or they think it's too complicated. And ultimately our goal is to be able to make automation accessible to everyone. So that's been something that I've been working on, trying to make it more user-friendly and make it more available to most people.
That's interesting you say that, because you do have that cluster of like your top 20% that are super tech savvy, where it's almost taken for granted, but you forget you have all these newbies coming in and you've got to get the balance with that. So let me zoom out a little bit. Let's think about how, because you've obviously got an incredible no-code platform. AI is going to play because when I was at your conference in Germany, what was really cool is to see like the most frequently used apps you have and how quickly ChatGPT has like rocked it up as like a module. Where do you, when you're thinking about AI on your platform, AI agents and stuff, how do you see it in the next 1 to 3 years? I know, Sebastian, we can't plan past 4 weeks. I get that, but grab out that crystal ball. Tell me, where's this heading on Make? What is the future of AI no code looking like?
Okay, like let's be bold. Okay, let's say
I like bold. We can come back
let's
and
say
say it was predicted.
it's good. We have it on recording, so maybe in a year I can watch it and it's like, oh, we were not so bad.
Not too far.
So if we're like really bold, I would say our usage of AI factor 3x, 4x. We have launched various agentic behaviorals, and I think it's not about just an agent, it's also about agentic behaviorals. It's a lot of functionality that allows you using LLM at every piece of the product, and this is something really huge, and I've seen not many platforms really doing this well, so this is a big thing. Plus, and a lot of people forget that, you got to think about, and this is going to be, I think it's even going to be the bigger thing in this year, the end of the year. A lot of people are talking right now about agents. Imagine you're hiring 1 employee. Imagine you're hiring 5 employees, or imagine you're hiring 20, 30, 50, 100, 1,000 people. How do you manage these people? I think in some months we will talk about, okay, how do you manage agents, and what's sort of like going to be the agent frameworks, not like the platform frameworks like Langchain and so on, no, but rather like what's going to be the frameworks that manage agents around in this world. So yeah, these are like kind of like usage stats plus where like what's the big things companies, SaaS companies gonna nail.
Yeah, because you've got like those, I don't know what they call them, those rings where they intersect, but you've got like the use case, you've got your no code, then you've got your AI agents, and like they all interact with each other in slightly different ways. Like the no code pulls on the AI, which pulls on the use case, which pulls on the no code again. So that's quite interesting.
I think the automation and AI, they both kind of just like pull on each other, because
Yeah.
with AI you have like basically second brain to help you do these things. With automation, that's going to be what's going to drive the AI to actually do the things you want it to do. So they both play into each other. And I personally think, I mean, over the next like few years, it's not, the AI hype isn't going to die down. It's only going to increase. But the question is going to be, how are we going to adopt all these new technologies? How, with smaller organizations, it might be a little bit more straightforward. But once you start getting into more complex organizations where they have security requirements, where they have these boxes that need to be checked off before they implement any AI workflows, it's going to be interesting to see. But I think positive things are going to be happening. More people are going to be adopting AI. More companies are going to be adopting AI, and I mean, hopefully they're going to be using Make to power it.
I absolutely love that, dude. Because I've noticed a big trend around the kind of self-hosting, and the GDPR data question comes up quite a lot and stuff. Is that something that you guys have a lot internally when you're thinking about like how you like structure and scale this stuff up?
I mean, from my side, I would say security is always important for a lot of the like larger organizations. We are GDPR certified, but there's there's a lot of things that are happening. I mean, we also have we recently got the SOC 2 Type 1 certification. We're working on the other ones, and I mean, SSO is always a big thing with larger organizations where things get leaked and things like that. But we have a lot of those conversations internally, and we also have a lot of those conversations with customers.
Because you guys crushed that, and that you work with like some of the largest organizations like on the planet with stuff like that, which is really cool. Do you think then, because the way you think about no code, then one interesting takeaways I had from the event in Germany was like your grid stuff, where like, because it seems like you're kind of really innovating in how you use no code and how you zoom out. So people would love to know, I think, like when is grid landing, and like how do you see that kind of like technology like progressing over the next couple of years?
I'm going to take that one. So we are right now, of course, great. We teaser grid, and we got some market feedback there. Right now, it is really about building that feedback and usage behavior, what it means to the platform. Because if you ship something and you roll it out with your first customers, you realize things you did not anticipate in the first place. Yeah, so to really mature a product, it takes usually 18 months. We'll try to do it faster.
Yeah.
Like the market average is still 18 months to have a really mature and stable product. Yeah, so
When you say product, do you mean like a new feature, like a grid or an agent or something like that? Like you have like a quite a defined time scale.
yeah, it depends. So it's really hard to say. Of course, like a product is like a standalone on its own sellable product, no, by its definition. A feature is more of like, okay, this is a new feature, this is an incremental improve. So, and sometimes it's hard even to differentiate, is this a feature, is this a new product? And we're thinking about an agent, you can say, well, it could be kind of like new product, it could be kind of like a new feature. We are lucky because our assistant we developed last year uses a lot of agentic behavior already. So we were able to copy a lot from there, what we already built in the past. So we're just basically now allowing the user to self-configure what we had in the backend already. So this is something where time to mature might be shorter, might be, we don't know. Grid, we have years of experience running processes, and I think there's some competitive edge we're having there. Might speed up also with our Solanas background, where we have process mining and process visualization in our course. And I know these guys working on it, they're coming from Solanas partly, they're joining like forces between Make and Solanas. So this might also speeding up time to market, but there is like a lot of uncertainty in these product making a product ripe is something that takes just so much time, so much effort. It's like
Yeah. It's like it's people drastically over like estimate how they think product development is a lot simpler than it is, but like simple changes have so many unintended consequences. And the other thing is because you guys have got such a I don't know if you share what your user base is, but I imagine it's quite significant. And like when you roll things out, you have like your beta users, they kind of like test it, pull on threads, see if they can break it. But it's very like even the iPhone update recently. Did you guys have had the latest iPhone update? It's like so like they had so much pushback from that, and like Apple was always like leading the way for design and UI, and it's so easy to get off your core and do something that's slightly left of center, and all of a sudden before you know it, like what you become known and famous for changes. So yeah, it's like I can appreciate there's quite a life cycle with that.
I think one thing we can go into is like the human in the loop. Like I think we've been beta testing that for a little bit. So I would actually want to know more about kind of what the timeline is for that, And I
That's a good
know,
question. Yeah,
yeah.
because did you expect this much like groundswell like questions about human in the loop? Because I think it went like so many people so curious about that.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm owning it. So I'm the guy who can tell you every little detail of it, and I'm happy to
Okay,
go into it.
okay, I'll
So
couple note put out. Tell us, Sebastian.
yes, what we did is we did a super rough, fast prototype. We shared a prototype in September. Wanted to understand basically, is this something where we should go? The audience voice was hell yes. Yeah. Okay. Then we started putting the POC into an MVP state in October. Learning, okay, what's the early customer feedback we got there with like around 30 people. Okay, build it into V01, launched V01 for closed beta plus enterprise customers. So we definitely unblock use cases for enterprise customers with what we imagine being enterprise differentiators, like custom fields, custom logic, custom design, and like, yeah, we know the AI cases for human in the loop. We're not going to block them. That's value for everybody that joins, even on a free plan. They need to be able to experience that they can loop with AI. That is why the AI team built human in the loop, even though you might think it's an enterprise feature. But ultimately, for AI, it becomes a necessity. It's a must-have. You need to have human looping capabilities even in every plan. But along the journey of automation maturity, that's what we're like using as like an upgrade criteria. It's really important to say, okay, what are the differentiators? And there is no better way to learn it than actually getting user feedback, like now after you conceptualize it and make it mature. And now again, it's the 4th month on a journey that takes usually 18 months. I'm happy to sneak peek that we are in the rebuild towards the version 1, where we have a super open release to everybody on the platform. I would say 2 to 8 weeks, something like this is so maybe we have at beginning of February, but maybe it's end of February. There are some unknowns.
Is that where like people watching this video could access and use human in the loop in their scenarios potentially?
Exactly.
Wow.
And we are going even one step ahead, and this is something where you will not get if you just wrap LangChain or just some of these frameworks around. We will allow agents to call human. So you can trigger an agent and you can request that if X, Y, Z happens, or if you do not achieve your goal or your task, or your memory doesn't provide you the information, or the code, I'm teasering code intentionally, you want to run doesn't work, you can call a human, so you can interact with your agents. So
Wow.
this is going to be really sick, and imagine then seeing all your agents on grid and all of this. So there's a bigger vision to come, and if it clicks perfectly together, it's going to be amazing for the community, but it's going to take some time.
That would be friggin' amazing, because I think people are using Airtable as a proxy at the moment for human in the loop, where we'll have the fields populated now, like, yeah, I approve. So having a human in the loop. And do you see with this agent, for example, being able to call individuals, or just simply text them, or maybe you could pick those configurations, whether it's Slack or an email or WhatsApp?
And you can just send them a link to ask for some input, and from the input, the agent then continues.
Wow.
So we're able to put agents on free state. And this
that would be game changer.
Yes. And this is something where it's sometimes sometimes it's good to observe the market for some time to understand, okay, what is like really what this is. I mean, Apple was the first one building phones, right?
Do you know, I think that's really interesting, because most of the AI agents on platforms we have at the moment do not have an integrated check with a human being function. It's pretty much you code it.
There are some.
Yeah, but I think the most popular ones, at least ones get a lot of attention at the moment, don't have that like natively built in. But I think you kind of almost release it into the wild. So if you've got something really slick on your roadmap that lets you kind of like converse and set it up, I think that would be, absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately you can build these human checks on kind of like any agent platform. So this is not something super unique. But again, it's about how you bring it to the customer. Do you make it easy? Do you make it appealing? Do you make it the way that everybody understands how to use it? Or is there a big stretch in terms of configuration, complexity, visualization, so on and so forth?
Well, it's funny because I guess the human in the loop exists because of a failure rate with the AI system. But the problem, I mean, like if I talk to, for example, a client who wants a build, they'll say, "There's actually I can't have even a 1% failure rate for this."
Exactly.
If it's like DMing clients, like, and that's kind of like even though it works 999 times out of 1,000, they're just trying to offset that like 1,000 possibility.
When I did the research for Human in the Loop, I had so many customers from like medical or health background, and they said, "Well, we imagine, or legal background, we imagine letting AI, based on the data, based on the input we got from the systems, from all the machinery, write diagnosed reports, whatever." The challenge there is to say it needs to be really correct. We need somebody checking it, and we need somebody really approving it, logging the approval, and having all of this documented. So when we're thinking about this, and now think again about Airtable. I don't see Airtable as the right system for this. You can build this on Airtable, but is this the purpose of Airtable? I'm not sure about that.
I think Airtable's become almost like a Swiss Army knife, hasn't it? Where like people are using it to like find circuits around things.
Yeah. But when I see their product strategy, I think like they're going more like for like interfaces, application development, things like this, rather than process interception. Yes, you can do the Swiss Army knife with it, but being like a process interceptor that allows you to on the fly just a process behavior, that's a different thing.
It's interesting because your roadmap can be informed by like what are the build arounds people are using, and then like let's just cut that out and make that directly available.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of like use cases coming out with the AI agents, with the human in the loop. But yeah, I mean, I think it's like what Sebastian said with if you have like medical records, if you have anything with law or anything that needs to be, it can't be right 99.9% of the time. It needs to be right every single time, or else there's really big consequences. That's like super important to us, and that's kind of something that we deal with on the enterprise side, where we have like these larger customers where they can't, they just can't have any things falling through the cracks. They can't have any of the things that are going to be reducing the quality of the actual information that's being passed through. And I mean, just to talk through like some case studies. I mean, there's some companies we can't mention, but we are working with a lot of like the top companies in the entertainment industry, in any industry. I mean, one thing, we just had a customer story come out with I believe the company's called Pacific Drive-Ins, and it's this guy, he owns I believe 16 or 17 Sonic drive-in restaurants. So if you're from the US, there's a restaurant called Sonic where you drive in, you order some food, and they were having issues where they were having so many orders that the manager on staff would be canceling it because the staff wasn't able to handle it. And with Make, they've been able to, process like 3,000 orders a day across all of the restaurants. They have like 700 employees that are all being onboarded, offboarded by Make. So these are just some of the exciting things that I've seen with Make, and we're going to be posting a lot more customer stories. So be ready for that.
It's so cool because actually what was cool is getting one of the companies up on stage, very big company, and they said, dude, we have a crack team, the use Make, and basically they almost became like their I guess like, I don't know, you got your CTO, you see like your head of HR, head of tech, almost like head of AI automations, where they had this like little mini team that would then almost like consult across their business to say, hey, what's all the boring admin stuff that you're doing that we can just like completely take off your plate? Do you guys see that being the model with big corporates? Because I guess like I wonder if big corporates, for you can probably deliver the most pounds and pence value because you can probably automate so much of the stuff they've got. Like, how do you see like enterprise clients? Let's start with the big guys, the enterprise first. How do you see them using no code and automations? Do you see them having like individual teams that run it? Do you see it more being delivered through consultants? What are your guys' kind of thoughts on that?
I think it's going to just start with departments. So you might have some kind of director, some kind of vice president who runs a certain department. They have some kind of gap in their process, or they have some kind of manual process that they want to automate, or they want to implement AI in, and it's going to start off with that, and then eventually it's going to grow to different parts of the organization. I mean, you're gonna be able to find use cases in every department, but I think especially at the larger organizations, the ones that have over 500, over 1,000, over 10,000 employees, it's going to be gradual steps, but eventually, I mean, every company wants to get there. It's gonna make their employees more powerful. It's gonna make their processes even better, and it's gonna make the customer experience better. Which, if you're a big company, that's should be the main goal for you.
I'm Boris, what do you see as like the most frequently used automations from the big guys? Like, what's the stuff that they're using no code automations for?
Yeah, I would say it's really all across the board. I mean, I think Google Sheets and ChatGPT were the main ones that were the main app uses of Make, but we also have a lot of people integrating with Monday.com, Airtable, as you said. There's a lot of use cases where people try and connect into their own internal systems where they have, and obviously also the HTTP module which you can use on Make. We have the over 2,000 apps already in our library, but as long as it can communicate over HTTP with an API, then you can connect into it with Make. Yeah. You can make those API calls. So really, I mean, when I first got here, I mean, I was asking the same question. I was like, so what are the main use cases? But there are just so many use cases, and it's really like on a case-by-case basis where...
Do you think of it more as like, these are the tools they're using the automations with more, like more so than processes? Like, is it stuff like email automations? Is it stuff like onboarding? Are there like those kind of like big categories that you're seeing like enterprise clients using like no code for?
Yeah, onboarding and offboarding, definitely very big use cases. I mean, we talk with a lot of IT departments at the moment, like, because IT departments can really like appreciate the power of Make. We're still kind of at a point where Make, it's not a developer tool, but you still need some kind of knowledge of APIs if you really want to use it to its full extent. So right now we've been talking with a lot of directors of IT, a lot of vice presidents in those departments who are having, basically they have these projects, and they have these projects that are on backlogs, and for them, implementing Make is going to increase a lot of value, because it's not just that they're able to do these projects to Make, it's that they're going to be able to get to these other projects that they've been holding back. And then, for example, a new vice president of IT gets hired to the company. Now he has all these projects that he needs to get done. With Make, he's going to be able to cut down on the development time, and we've done, I mean, the results will show itself. We're going to have more customer stories coming out, but we've helped a lot of IT departments really reduce the amount of projects that they can get to within like a certain amount of time, and without adding more people, because that's usually how companies will solve this problem. They'll add 10 more employees, they'll add 5 more employees, and with Make being like a fraction of that cost, it's going to be a no-brainer.
I think that's a really good comparable, because that is the closest thing you can compare it to, which is an employee. Like, you would physically have need to hire a salary, training, HR, all that stuff, pushing buttons. That's what we kind of eliminate. And I think what's really cool, like for me, about the Make platform is the fact that it's actually, and we find this in my community as well, like getting people their first automation where they get to almost experience that happening in front of them. And they get like this wow moment of like, what the hell, I just completely solved this. And even if it's something small, they get that like magic moment. And I think like that's like, everyone has one of those experiences when they first find out about the tool and they start on that journey. So it's like, it's almost like once a company sees that, or an individual sees that, like the rest kind of just says, well, wait till you see what else it can do as we scale it up.
Yeah, it's super cool. And people usually come to Make with like one use case where maybe they see something from your YouTube channel, maybe they see something from someone else, and they're like, I just want to try this. And then they try it out, and then it works, and they're like, oh, holy crap, I have a bunch of other processes that I can automate. And then that's where you kind of have like that click in their brain where they see the potential, and that's kind of what. And I love talking to people that have those moments where they're just super excited about it.
So let me zoom out a little bit then. Let's think of it. So we've obviously AI and Make are becoming like inextricably linked. You've got your big enterprise, which is a big focus for you guys. How do you put a lot of focus on your single YOLO bros, like in their Bali huts, like making money selling Make automations and stuff? Like, I'd be interested in, Sebastian, as well, like how you find that from like driving AI functionality. Do you think that's like the same requirements for your enterprise guys, and also like your kind of different customers that are maybe just like solo Make users? Because I know enterprise are going to drive a lot more revenue operations. But I wonder if there's other like monetization models for you, like with AI, especially below level.
It's probably more like for product research or something, where I'm usually like need the input from like the product marketing team. They are doing more of like qualitative research where this is valuable. I'm in my research doing a lot of times qualitative research, so I don't have like 1,000 users and answering quantitative measures. Or maybe Boris, you have some insights from the market directly there.
I mean, in terms of insights that I have, I would say, I think like with the small organizations, with the startups, where it may be just the CEO himself, just a solopreneur, it may be like the smaller organizations where they have like 10 or 15 employees. It's for them when like capital is short and when you don't have a lot of resources to invest, that's when the AI and automation is going to come in to kind of fill in those gaps. And as you know, maybe your venture backed startup, as you're waiting for more investment to come into your company, as you're expanding the growth, AI and automation and Make are all gonna be able to fill in those gaps. I mean, and it's not something that we're expecting you to build your entire business to run it off of Make. We do have some companies do that, but in the beginning, when the resources are small, when you're not able to get all these super expensive softwares, when you're not able to hire 30 engineers to do the work, Make is going to be able to kind of fill in those gaps.
Yeah, well, I think if people are using Make, like as long as it provides a solution, they'll engage with it. I've got a couple of funny quick fire ones actually. Be good to like bing off you guys and stuff. So starting, I guess, human loop is a funny one. I'm glad we covered that. That's freaking epic. We had some questions around API polling and error handling with the APIs. Is that something you guys are actively looking at, working on? Anything you could share on that side?
Yeah. So yes, in short, there's going to be a release in the next weeks. Maybe even this week. I don't know exactly when. But it's done deal that you can control errors via API.
Okay, beautiful. That's perfect.
That's gonna solve. I know it was super pain for me in completed executions. Me as a developer experienced this for years. It's an edge case still, but if it happens, it really is painful. So even though it might just happen in 0.x percentage, when it happens and you have 10,000 incompleted executions, that hurts. Or if you get some like really weird 429 errors, things like that. So yes, and when I refer like, for example, okay, we need to do things that matters for agents as well. This is also one thing, because imagine your agent gets stuck or errors out. How do you manage this? So
that's ace. And how about custom apps? We get some questions on custom app development and also payment integration.
What are you referring to? More like marketplace, or what's your...
So custom apps, so people wanting to like create their own apps on Make. I think I remember the Germany thing, there was some functionality about like you could feed something's API documentation and then Make would be able to run with that.
Yeah, you mean like kind of like an app copilot. So I mean, we have an alpha running, actually public alpha. That's our only public alpha we're running at the moment. Because by definition, alpha is not public, but we made this public to get actual user feedback because we cannot test it internally. We need partners testing it. There is this app copilot running. The current state of it is okay-ish, but the development effort to take it further to like a really good app still takes some effort. The time saved per developer is there, and it's definitely valuable. If we take it forward towards being a real product feature, we don't know yet. We got to see the data, the user behavior, but getting all the data and getting all the insights, that takes time. And actually, we're working there with OpenAI and trying to fine-tune models there that actually work really well for it. Success is so-so. With RAC, we're not going to get there because it's the IML. We have like an IML JSON structure, and we need to override it in the memory in the mid training process of the model, and that's something that's not so trivial.
Got it. So what are you? Okay, here's a question for you. What are you most excited about at the moment?
What am I most excited about? Um,
These are the
I would
hard hitting
say
questions. These are the hard hitting.
I
Where do I start?
I I would say when customers see the bigger picture coming together, and I can't wait for that in half a year, hopefully.
A
Yes.
bit, is this, Sebastian, is this the master plan you're kind of like, you've been, because I got a lot
I
of
would
them
say
here.
it's the iteration towards the bigger picture. It's plans change, bigger pictures or fancy visions, and chasing fancy visions is sometimes not the right thing. But based on what we see on the market, a lot of these like building blocks we're right now building and positioning in the market, if this bigger picture comes together and customers gonna see this, it's gonna be so huge. Period.
I flipping love that. Well, my community absolutely flipping loves Meg. So if you need an army of freaking intelligent early testers that can help out, they are there ready to help
Yes.
Sebastian.
I will get in touch with you.
Awesome. And how about you, Boris? What you stoked about, man? Like, I know. What are you thinking?
I think no, I think it's great that Sebastian gave these insights because I mean, even for me internally, like I didn't know that it really took like 18 months of development, of testing, of all this beta stuff to before we release any product because like Make isn't a very large company. We're also not very small, so we also have a lot of things that we don't want to release a feature that doesn't work. We don't want to do any of those things. So there's that element of risk. So that's a really great insight from him. I would say, I mean, to be honest, I think I'm just really excited about our growth that's going to be happening in the U.S. and just we're really ready to take over the U.S. market. And in terms of like features of Make, I think just Make Grid is going to be super big. Like everyone is super excited for that. When it was announced at Waves, just everyone was like, "We want this. We want to see this."
Right.
And even like the preliminary demo videos just look super cool, where you see the little
Yeah.
little animations of the data being passed through from your internal softwares. So I think that's really cool. And I mean, it sounds like according to Sebastian, we still have to wait a little bit for it to come out. But once it does come out, I think it's going to be super big. And I know that on the amount of testing that we're doing, on the amount of like beta people that we have using it, it's going to be a great product when it does come out. So
It
I'm
is,
super excited for that.
it is epic. I play with it. It's when did Sebastian? Do we know when that's landing? Did we mention that earlier? Is that still a mystery at the moment?
I cannot tell any dates there. It's not within my product scope, and I've been talking with the product manager there. Again, they are rolling it gradually to some testers, getting the feedback, getting the bugs, getting the issues, work on them. Next one, next one, next one, and then you certainly, but slowly see, okay, is this working at scale? Like it's always like like yeah, we could ship an agent today, sure, but let's get it into the hands of maybe like 100 customers, 500, 1,000, and then you're gonna see that we maybe have some. Do we have some bigger issues there that in terms of scale and scalability, or is it easy to scale?
So you guys are a victim of your own innovation. You talk about it, and they're like, "Dude, we need this right now." So, which is, I think, a good place to be in. Actually, have a hungry crowd demanding these features, which is incredible.
But it's like that's the thing also because you have that hungry crowd. You have to think about scale. That's a thing a lot of companies do not have an issue with when they start something that it needs to scale fast.
So on that point, actually, like maybe like why do you think Make's going to be the future like no code platform? What is it? Where do you see yourselves like differentiating? Do you think going forward?
We make agents easier for everybody, period. That's the thing. We're going to make agents accessible for everybody in the industry and that platform agnostic. You don't need to be in Salesforce or Microsoft or whatever. No, you can connect all of your platforms, all your tools, and bring your agents into any system where you want that it has access to all your SaaS tools you're using for work. And we're going to be there to be the glue. That was always the vision of Make, is being the glue between systems, and we're just going to continue this, evolving this vision, and we're the agent provider that makes it so easy for you to use AI within every piece of your journey.
Yeah, it's gonna be the plumbing underneath your house, and
That's a good one.
what,
I
yeah.
like it.
Write that, we'll write that down. Something. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, because you must be so excited to release. I know you've got to go through all the different like bells and whistles and red line users and stuff like that, but that must be one you're really excited to get out. I think people would really, really love that.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Well, guys, this has been a really fun conversation. I've really enjoyed it. I think it's great to connect and explore your roadmap and stuff because you've got such a cool, amazing user base. Is there anything else you want to share with the world, with the people listening? We'll definitely need to redo this again in the future, and we can say, "Oh my gosh, the AI agents are live. They're taking over the world. Skynet's here. What are we doing, Sebastian? What are we doing, Boris?" But anything you'd love to share with the world before we finish this one?
I would share one last thing. Keep the feedback coming. Push us. Tell us what's good. Tell us what's bad.
How do you want them to do that? How do you want them to give you the feedback?
LinkedIn community. We're listening to every channel. Salespeople. But basically also you, if you have something to share or when you get feedback, just ping me. Just invite me on it. I'm happy to read over it. Yeah, get your community ready to test them with the hill and human in the loop and agent behavioral coming out soon.
They will give you beautiful, wonderful feedback. That's amazing. Thanks, Sebastian. And from you, Boris, what were
Yeah,
your additional? What do you think?
yeah, and just to add on to that, I think it's going to be super exciting to see like more events coming out. So if we're ever going to an event, don't hesitate to come over to us. Like I just went to one in New York in September. We had a lot of people from Monday coming to us saying, "Hey, we love using Make. We really enjoy it." Or they would say, "Hey, I love using Make, but I wish it had this." And then I will go to the product team. I'll give them the feedback like that. So yeah, as Sebastian said, don't hesitate to give us feedback. You can send me a connection request on LinkedIn and we can talk over there. I love meeting everyone that's using Make and connecting with the community. So super excited to see where we're going with that.
Incredible. Guys, thank you so much. What a great conversation. And we'll pick this up again in a few months' time.